Karen the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel where we cut and sew and see what happens. Thank you for being here. Today I want to play a little bit with these leftover shapes from the Shy Eyes guy. I mentioned last week that I kind of liked these things together. If we do, I don't know what we'll do with them, but something. I don't know what the arrangement will be. I don't know that I want them right next to each other. Want to do some foofara in there. I don't know. Just something to play with. And the first step is going to be getting these on some fusible web. I think I'm probably going to be appliquing these curves rather than sewing them, seaming them. And for that, I want something that's going to control the raveling a little bit. So I'm going to put them on some fusible webs. Steam-A-Seam 2 and Light Steam-A-Seam 2 are all that I have in the house. So I guess I'm going to use those. Obviously, I need to make a trip to pick up some more fusible web. So that's the first step. You don't need to watch me do that. I will get that finished and probably trim these up a little bit to get rid of some of the ravels, and then we'll be back. I have this one fused onto the yellow. I decided to use yellow because white is just an accent color on this Brillig quilt. I'm assuming this piece is going into Brillig. Maybe, maybe not. The other pair that I have, I'm going to think about some more, so we'll do that another day, and maybe it will be a separate piece. But I decided to put it on yellow because the pink and the blue were going to be too strong underneath, and I didn't want that color to bleed through. So I think the yellow is a better choice, and since this is a yellow-green, I think that will work better. This one is fused. This one is not, because this might be a good time to make a decision about how I want these distributed in relation to each other. Let me move this back. So the selvage that we lose would be on the same side. And this spacing is just, you know, whatever. Because we'll do other things in between there. But I have to think about where I want this to be vertically or horizontally in relation to that one. Maybe I do want it there. That seems odd to me, but I think I do want it sort of centered. So I'm going to go ahead and fuse this, and then I'm going to applique around it. And the next question is, what am I going to do? It'll probably be just a simple zigzag. And am I going to do it in white, maybe? Or I might do it in invisible, because I don't know yet how I want to treat the edges. How bad is that? But I really think I need to be, before I start manipulating stuff in the middle, I really need to be getting the edges secured so that they aren't raveling or coming undone. Steam-A-Seam 2 says you don't need to fuse them or don't need to sew them down, but I worry that it's not going to stick. So let me fuse this first. And then I'm going to use white. And now I'm going to use invisible. I've decided I'm going to use invisible thread. I'll put some stabilizer underneath, and then we'll get these fused down. If I decide to do some kind of treatment toward the edge, maybe I'll do some decorative stitching that wanders around. That'll be fine, but I'll use the invisible thread to secure the edges. I have it around here somewhere. So I will fuse, applique this side. I'm not sure yet about this side because I may want to put that into a seam And I might want to do that here too. 'Tis a puzzlement. Well, while I'm working on the outsides, I'll decide if I'm going to do some invisible stitching on the inside here. I did choose to applique all the way around. This one is not my, well, let's just say it's not my best work. Just like changing the blade in your rotary cutter often, one should change the needle often enough when you are going through fusible web. It's not going to gum up your needle, but of course it's going to gum up your needle, which then can translate down into, well, the eye of the needle. So anyway, change your needle often. If you get bogged down, you need to change the needle. I'm just, you know, just finish this seam. Okay, can we just finish this much? No. All right. So these are appliqued. I know that I want to do something in between. I will probably do things here too. My mind is going to circles, but we'll see. So I want to do some kind of piecing or something to connect these two together. And what I'm initially thought was, well, let's just kind of do a curved thing over here and a straight thing over here. But what if we flip that and do a straight thing here and a curved thing there? And then something else. Oh, something else in between. You know what we did last week where we inserted the bits and bobs into a strip? That might be kind of fun. That could be fun to sort of tie it into that as well. Or we could do just cross pieces. Yeah, we might do that just to do something a little different. But first I want to start out with whether I'm going to do a straight and a curve, or a curve and a straight, or both straight or both curved. Let's do, and what's it going to be? Am I going to have green in there, or am I going to have white in there as the curve? And these again are going to be narrow bits of another color. Well, let's cut a curve first and then we'll, so this is just going to be a free form, and I will kind of, and it doesn't, I don't have enough fabric here to make this anything other than a gentle curve, but that's kind of what I want anyway. Pardon my elbow. I do this to you every time, don't I? All right, these are too small to use somewhere else. So that's just a gentle curve, and that's all right because this is a gentle curve here as well. So whatever I decide I'm going to do there, whatever color, that will be ready to go. And I have more yellow where I can do the other side of the curve. But here, am I doing straight? Or should I just, let's do a curve on that one too, because I feel like doing curves today. All right, and I'm going to start the curve out here, actually. Sorry, I'm going to have my elbow in your face again. Okay, now, so there are our two pieces, and I think I'm going to do white. And then we'll think about what we're going to do in the middle. But I'm going to do white strips here, and then I'll need to decide if I want to do some more yellow before I start doing whatever I'm doing in the very center, or if I want it to follow the curves. Interesting. There will be more foo-for-ah nonsense, that embellishment and whatnot, that I will do on these things. And then, as I said, we'll try some circles or something there. So off to do some curves. Once again, I will put a link in the description box to the video that shows how I do freeform curves like this. So you don't have to listen to that once again. Oh, now I'm seeing fish. Well, I did see, what did I, yeah. People have seen different things. I think that's very cool. or maybe two fish. This one is just sort of being lazy, on his back, floating on his back, and this one's just buzzing around. That's why this one is more petite. Gets more exercise. All right, I'm gonna do curves. Those curves are finished. I have left these uncut because I'm not sure what I want to do in the middle. Well, actually, I could cut them, and then whatever I decide to do in the middle would just meet whatever those lines are. So I may go ahead and trim these so I have a little better idea of the weight, the visual weight that this is going to be. And then in the center, we will do, I don't know what yet, but it will be a yellow background. I know that. So the main part of it will be yellow. And then there'll be cross pieces of different colors, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. Then I'm going to cut a strip of the yellow, a long strip of the yellow, because we're going to be splicing things in, so we'll lose length to the seams, potentially, depending on how wide the spliced strips are. Let me do that, and we'll come back and get started on doing the splicing. I've actually cut two pieces because I'm trying to use up things that are in the stash for this quilt, and they don't have to, it doesn't have to be a single strip because I'm going to be cutting it anyway. So I think I cut it wide enough that I can get the curves in there, but I can also decide if I want it narrower. I don't want it any wider, but after I do the splicing, then I can better determine how wide I want that centerpiece to be. So I am going to cut an angle. Oh, here we have to go with the, do we want to do curve or straight? I want to do straight, I think, because if it gets much narrower, you're not going to see the curve. Well, you might. Nope, we're going to do, we might do a mix. Let's say we'll maybe do a mix. All right, so I will start out with, I think maybe a white, because the white will sort of bound it and tie it in here. So it will be white going across it. It will help to pull these two sides of it together. And I think while I'm at it, I'm going to cut some more, just because I can. I can do a curve in here. And then another splice. And of course, I still have to decide how wide these pieces are going to be, but I think they're going to be pretty narrow strips in there. I'm going to need another curve in here, maybe go in the other direction. I may need two more in there. We'll see how much we have left by the time I finish this. Here we have our centerpiece, and all we need to do now is decide how wide we would like it to. That really does look like a fish now, doesn't it? I love it. All right. So, wider or narrower? Another option would be to split this, flip one of them, and see what that looks like. It might even have a strip of, I don't know, white or green maybe in there, or maybe yellow, I don't know. Do we feel like splitting this and end up not liking it after we split it? All right, if we look at a narrow piece, oh, I really like it kind of narrow. And that would give us whatever leftover piece to use somewhere else. I really like it kind of narrow. That's what we're going to do. All right, how wide do I want it? First of all, I'm going to cut this curve to match this curve. And you've seen me do this, and I'll just put my elbow in your face. So I will cut it off camera. I think this is about the width I want for this. Now, maybe a little narrower, but I need to back off because I've got seams to do, of course. And that actually should leave us enough we can see how we feel about. No, we've decided on this. And whatever is left, we will use somewhere else. This is almost just crying out for another shy eyes guy, isn't it? We could do a Where's Waldo sort of thing with this quilt. All right. I will do this cut and sew it, and then we'll look at some other things we might do to embellish. Now we're ready to talk about some embellishments. Oh, this is left over, so that goes into the bin for future. I think I might want to do some windy white embroidery here just to kind of pull all this together. So I've got this curvy white here. I could do some curvy white across this line to make it less straight. And then kind of something of the same up here. I might also do some French knots. We'll see. So foufara to come. I'll just say that. I also, because circles, I also cut just some small circles, just as kind of placeholders to see how that looked. And then what if we did some circles in these spaces? I'd probably put another one here and here because I would want an odd number. Or maybe an overlapping one there, which would be kind of nice, wouldn't it? Do I want to overlap or put them in the spaces? What do you think? I kind of like them a little bit overlap. Some of them anyway. I wouldn't have to do all of them that way. Well, let me know what you think. I always appreciate your comments and suggestions. I think that's going to be it for this week. Next week, I don't know. I'll see if I can make some progress on doing the foufara. And then next week, we may think about how we're going to put this together. Again, we do that periodically, don't we? But it's got to be, it's an Alice quilt. So at some point, we just have to say, that's it. Oh, I haven't done Hildy yet, though, have I? Oy, much to do, much to do. I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.